This app was created by one of my own students. He spent more time getting ready everything than even sometimes practicing. So he created an amazing solution for this situation, and now it's available for all of you here today. My friend Charlie is going to share with you how it works since the roots and why it might be the thing that finally will let you play and practice on the right way. So 3, 2, 1, let's go. Okay guys, so we are here with my friend Charlie. Hello Charlie, my friend, how's it going? Good to see you.
It's going well. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. So yeah, I've knew Charlie since I don't know how much time have you met yourself? When?
It's about like a year and
a year now, more or less.
Maybe a little under a year and a half, yeah.
Okay. So Charlie joined our community as into one of our programs, like the typical boot camps that they do, in which each 2 months we're working on a different flamenco style. And after he got into the program and he started to get into the exercises and start to practice, because of he's a really intelligent guy and he's always thinking about how to make things better, he was thinking, right now that I imagine yourself and I know yourself, I imagine yourself at home. What can I do to improve my playing, play better and save time and make my time on a good quality, you know, make a good quality practice time at home. So because of all those thinkings, this is what Charlie made. So tell me why you made this, for what reason, what it's really helping yourself in the process, how this is helping also the people who are already trying the app.
Yeah, I mean, the real issue that I run into, and I think a lot of people can relate to this, is I just don't have time to be inefficient with my time. I have 2 kids, I have a job, I have just so many things competing. I'm 40, you know, I'm not a student where I have, 12 hours a day that I can put my phone down and practice guitar. And at the stage of playing guitar, when I came to you, I basically knew what we call the cowboy chords on a steel string guitar. Like I did that when I was 12, I put the guitar down, and I came back when I was 40. And the issue that I had wasn't so much that I wasn't enthusiastic about practicing. I would grab a guitar, it's always within arm's reach, and I was playing lots and lots of hours thinking, this is how I'm going to get better. And when I joined your boot camp, I started to realize that, okay, I have some foundational issues with not so much that my technique is bad, but that there's little things in my technique that if I made those better, my guitar skills would improve dramatically. Like a tiny percentage of improvement in your foundations makes an enormous difference no matter what you're playing. And I started to kind of see that, especially when I was watching you play or some of the more advanced people in your boot camps. I was just noticing that like I was struggling to do things that they were just doing. And
keep working, don't worry.
No, so I was...
That's live things, okay? Someone called myself, let's go.
Yeah, this is what happens. No, I was struggling to do things that other people weren't, which is totally normal. And I, at that point, said to you, I'd like to get private lessons, like I'm ready for that. I had been doing everything over video for my whole career of guitar, and I hadn't had a single in-person lesson. So I thought that was the answer. I thought getting you for 2 hours a week or whatever would help me. And you told me, what did you tell me? Do you remember?
It's like, I don't remember if you're meaning about a specific sentence. I don't remember right now.
No, but basically what you told me was,
going to Repertoire, the first thing, always.
Yeah.
And you don't need all those things to play guitar sometimes, maybe?
Yeah, so basically what you said to me was, I don't want to take your money for 1 hour lessons.
Okay.
What you really need is to follow a structure. Like you need to follow a plan, and it doesn't have to be complicated. And so for me, that was a big relief that I could come up with the plan and do it. So you told me to maybe consider doing your technique boot camp, which you used to offer. And so I signed up for that. And when I got into that, your first meeting was very funny because you said, okay, well, here's the secret. play slowly, do a metronome. Okay, I gotta go. You know, like you were pretending you were gonna leave, and you know, your point was that that's true. Like that's a lot of how you get better. It's not the only way, but you need to be doing things specifically with a metronome. And you laid out your entire process of doing it, which I don't know if you want to speak to why you do it that way, but basically what it involved was a list of exercises and a metronome app that is very specific, that increments its speed according to what you want. And in addition to that, a notebook where you keep track of what your speeds are and you figure out what your plan is every day when you're practicing. And so I sat down and I was like, great, I can finally get better at the guitar. So I remember my first session trying to follow your plan. I sat down and I was like, okay, I need my arpeggio video. And so I opened up the Google Doc and I went to the YouTube link and I got the video open. I was like, great. And then I was like, okay, now I need my notebook. So I get my notebook out. And then, okay, now I need an app. So I get my iPad out because my phone wasn't whatever. I get all this going. And by the time I start practicing, I'm like, I now have 15 minutes left in my practice because it took me 10 minutes to set up for practice. And what happened was in between, when I'd go from an arpeggio exercise to whatever, alzapua or thumb or whatever it was that was next, I would have to like manually reset. I'd have to get the new video open. I'd have to set the metronome from 3/4 to 4/4 or whatever the speeds were. I'd have to check my notes. I'd have to update my notes for the day prior. And it just felt hard. It felt like trying to practice was taking too much time. And so when that happened, I sat back and said, you know, I have software development skills. And for myself, I said, I'm going to make a website just for me that lives on my hard drive that organizes this so that I can practice more efficiently. And so what I started with was trying to make the techniques area of this, what is now flamencoskills.com. And in doing that, it really was noticeable, the difference it made very, very quickly. And what it allowed me to do is practice effectively with a path in mind of what I'm going to do. But an additional benefit that the website offered was the second piece of making good progress that you always talk about, which is you tell every student they have to record themselves and share their videos for feedback. And do most of your students record themselves enough?
Not all of them, as much as I want to, but thanks to this feedback strategy that we're following for the last 6-7 months, they're recording themselves better and more than ever before. But it's true that until they did not join the school community, people used to don't record themselves. Usually people are not used to record themselves. They don't, and that's really important because that's the only way that you have to check how you sound. Because when you play, you hear from this side, you're playing the guitar, and from this side you listen to your guitar. But it's really difficult and different to listen from here, from an in front of section, which is a really sound of the guitar.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think especially for beginners, they sometimes are very unaware of how they are playing because they're so focused on playing the note like in the rhythm that they end up, you know, in this sort of like gargoyle position around the guitar with so much tension that they're never going to be able to speed up. They're never going to be able to clean it up, right? Because there's physically not set properly. So recording myself I recorded myself every time I practiced. And I didn't share every video, but I needed to record myself. So in that process of having the camera app open, right, separate from my website, that was now hosting the videos and I could run the metronome on it. So I had my practice stuff done, but I was now having to record myself with a separate camera and then figure it out later. And so I decided, well, why not put that in the app too? And so what you end up getting to as we go through demonstrating the functionality of the app is this is really intended to be a one-stop shop. You come here, You can load up your technique exercises or your repertoire items. You can have a metronome that is easy to interact with and also capable of handling the flamenco rhythms, which are very tricky. They're tricky to get right, and to have sound right with a palmas sound or a click. Having it really feel authentic was really important to me. And having this app set as it is, I'm able to not only navigate all of the stuff I want to practice, but I'm able to capture it. And then when I share it, it's so easy to get feedback, because as you'll see later when we demonstrate what the capturing capability is, having the metronome be visible on the screen while you're playing, as well as having the audio of the metronome in the video, makes it so that you can tell, did my close start on 9 by accident? I mean, when you're playing a 12-beat compás, if you're a beginner or you're even an intermediate student, you're gonna not always pick up where it was that you did something, and you can tell very plainly that, oh, I ended on 11 instead of 12, or whatever it is that you're working on. It makes it much easier to tell when you make a mistake.
You're completely right, man. Yeah. I like the word you said. That's a one-stop app, or
one-stop shop. Yeah.
I like.
Yeah.
And that's completely the thing, because of everything is inside. Because that's my situation right now. Because of, I use the app, I know the app, but I'm going to be truth. Because of, we are always doing a lot of things every day, and I still not using it on my daily life. But I remember myself doing it, or when I want to record feedback for the students, or when I want to record even material for some of my programs. It's a really helpful thing for the guys to have the metronome on the same screen, to take care and to know in which beat are the song or the variation that I'm doing, no? So the one-stop shop, I like it, because it's true. It's everything in the same place. Metronome, recording, exercises, and repertoire, techniques. So that's awesome. That's great. By the way, I remember myself, when you started to do that, like a long time ago, with just a really small quantity of things inside, I remember myself arriving home and saying to my girlfriend, hey baby, this man is doing something great. What the hell? Why is he doing? I'm not doing that before. That's crazy. That's really good. The metronome on the screen, even the camera settings inside, or just to put all my repertoire exercises divided in styles, rhythm, harmony, chords. Man, that's a full course. And I think that's an amazing tool for even students and even teachers. So if you are here and you're watching this video and you're a teacher, stay here, because this is also great for you. Okay?
Yeah, and one thing that's I think really important to know about this is, people think they come in and they look at the library of exercises or the library of repertoire, and they go, this is what's there. That's the limit of the library. But it's not, because if you have any video that you want to practice that's on YouTube, you can add it to the system. So every user can make their own exercise that they want to do, and you can share it with each other with the click of a button. You can also make your own repertoire. So there's so many creators on YouTube that have free content that's incredibly good, you included. That means that as a student, I don't need to go buy a course that is going to give me access to some videos that I have to go to their website and navigate through and be the subscription or whatever there. I can come to this site and I can just put what I want in it, and I get all the tools that are designed for learning effectively. Like, for example, one tool that I find incredibly valuable is being able to play a YouTube video and have an A/B loop of a section of it that is saved inside the file. Because when I'm looking at, some long perfil flamenco where it's like the song is an 8-minute song, like if you want to practice one section of it, or you're practicing and you forget a part, having to scroll through a video to find where that is and watch someone's fingers and kind of reset it over and over again really slows down being able to learn. So by being able to use the system, that's just an example of one of the tools that lets you look at one part over and over again. But those little details are throughout the app in all sorts of different areas.
I think it's time now to start, instead of say about or talk about the things that are inside, let's go inside
Yeah.
and share with the guys what is happening, right?
Sure, I'll share my screen. So this is the welcoming page of the website, and normally you would log in to get here. I've bypassed that. So what we can see at the top is that it's asking me what I want to practice, because every day when you come in, it's going to guide you to practice your techniques and your repertoire. And you set as a user what you want. How many days do you want to practice? How many hours do you want to practice? What percentage of the time do you want to spend on techniques versus repertoire? So you can see my personal goals here. This is my actual account, so I've been very active on it. And this morning I was able to do some practice before driving into work, so you can see it's already populated there for me. So our first choice would be, do we want to practice techniques or do we want to do something else? And this is really our menu. So we can come in here, and if we just want to see what a metronome for something, you just want to quickly work, you can click on quick metronome, and it's going to bring up a control that lets you use a really powerful metronome to practice anything you want. I'll go through all of...
You can share here also like the custom metronome, which is just a 4/4, or this could be like a flamenco style.
Right,
Awesome.
exactly. It starts as a 4/4 because like oftentimes people need that, but you can set this however you want. And if you click on a flamenco style, it loads that style, and you can see this is a 12-beat compás now down here. You can also view it in reloj, clock orientation, which is a really traditional way of thinking about it. And in some falsettas that I practice, I like to see it this way as opposed to in the regular beat orientation. But the settings here are pretty specific. You can see, I mean, I don't need to go through all of them. Users can explore them. But one thing we can do is set the palmas to be the sound. So when we practice, we get a nice, as opposed to that harsh click, which, you know, for some reason when I'm playing a falsetta, and even if it's a technique falsetta, I don't want to listen to some beep. I'd rather listen to you clapping, you know? So it's being able to set the sound here. You can also set whatever subdivisions you want. So as you know, a lot of the different compás patterns have subdivisions where you're playing on the ands or something like that. You need to track them. You can click to activate or to accent any of the subdivisions inside of this rhythm.
This thing is awesome. Awesome. This is great.
Another little like very clear example here is if I go to the bulería 6-beat, it loads by default with the 1, 2, and 3, right? That very, very typical driven bulería 6-beat rhythm. It's going to load it with that palmas pattern already inside. So when I practice, it's going to be ready to be authentic.
Yeah.
You can also see here that, like, let's say I was doing a 12-beat bulería rhythm here. I can see that it starts on 12, as opposed to starting on 1 and going to 12. It starts on 12 and then it goes to 11. That's something that normal metronomes don't do. This is a very specific flamenco thing. So the point of seeing this section is all of these controls, and there's many in here that we haven't even talked about. Anytime that we load a metronome in this app, you get access to all these controls, and all your settings are saved. So you don't have to do this every time. So let's go in. I want to show some of the other things, but I think it'd be better if we go in and actually as if I was going to practice today. Does that make sense for you?
I think so. It makes sense.
So
yeah, for me.
when you practice, when I practice, I start with techniques to warm up. Is that what you do as well?
That's a good option.
Good option. So
yeah.
I would go into the techniques area. And in the techniques area, we can see all the different primary 6 techniques, right? Each one of these has levels within it. So if I click on arpeggio, you can see that there's 2 level 1 exercises, 2 level 2 exercises, and a level 3 exercise. the levels here are really important because what this system is really trying to get you to do is not have 1,000 levels that you're completing. We have a few levels that are very specific in what they're training, and they pertain very well to flamenco, right? These are the exercises that you created. These are from your technique bootcamp. So if we come into the escobilla here, which is a normal one that you recommend for your arpeggio practice, you can see that the metronome is set at 70. And if I hit start, it's going to start clicking through. And so I could grab my guitar, I could come sit down and practice. But what if I don't know what this exercise is? How to even do this exercise? If I click here, there's a video. If I click on the video, it's your tutorial video of how to do this exercise. And I can watch it. I can figure out exactly what it is that I need to do. And then I can come down and practice it all in one place. I don't have to open different browsers and navigate to see what's happening.
That's great also.
So,
And those
one
videos
thing,
right now we have to say that this video that you can see here, it's already included now. I don't know what we're going to be doing in the future, but right now, if you join the app right now, a lot of videos of myself practicing, teaching, and sharing some exercises are going to be there, included on the app. It's not something that it's out.
yeah, right. Once you gain access to the app, all of this is inside the app. There's nothing that's not inside the app. So something that is a really common issue when you're trying to learn a particular detail of something new is that you'll start the metronome and you'll start progressing through it and you'll reach a point where you can't keep up with the metronome, right? Because these technique exercises, the whole idea is you start slow and then every so many measures, the metronome speeds up a little bit. And it's so gradual that you don't really notice it. But at a certain point, you hit where you can't play cleanly anymore. And when you hit that point, in the technique bootcamp, you described that's when you do, and you listed all these things that you should do. That used to require doing math and thinking about it. But now, because it's built into the system, I was able to use an algorithm to figure out what your practice range was. And then when you reach that point of not being able to play with the metronome anymore, how do you handle it to be able to practice more efficiently to go through it? And we've called that the stress point system, because the idea is you're playing, it's speeding up, and you reach a stress point where your tension builds up too much or your technique starts to fail. Something goes wrong and you can't keep up anymore. And when that happens, all you have to do as a user is click the stress point button. And what that does, I have a little visual here because I'm a nerd, of what that actually does. So let's say you started practicing and you were able to do like this arpeggio at 78 beat per minute. And you're practicing and it goes up to 84 and you're still feeling pretty good. And then it reaches 88 here and you just can't keep up anymore. That's when you hit the stress point button. And what's going to happen is the stress point bar is going to go up and it's going to reset you to a lower beat per minute. From there, you're going to creep up again, creep up, and then you hit that stress point, you hit the button, and it drops back down. And this pattern of climbing up and then dropping back down and climbing back up, it leads to you being able to actually make progress in your technique speeds, because it's sort of like ironing a shirt, where what you do to iron a shirt is what you don't do is turn the iron on hot, drop it on top of the wrinkles, and just leave it there, right? You don't go into your technique and say, I can't play at 180 beat per minute, so I'm going to set the metronome to 180 beat per minute, and I'm just going to try really hard. That doesn't work. And that's a mistake that I used to make, that you taught me is not the way to do it. The way to do it is you creep into these speeds and then drop the beat per minute to where you're able to keep up with it and creep into the speeds again and again and again and again. And that's what the system automates for you. When you come in, if you hit the stress point button, it's going to drop your speed back down and let you ramp into your hard speed again without you having to keep track of what was my speed. What was I doing when I was practicing that? Like, you don't have to decide what to do. The system just is ready for you to go. So I can literally grab my guitar, sit down, click a technique, and hit play. And I can just know that I'm practicing in the range I need to practice to make progress.
That's great, man. I remember as soon as you are explaining things that I already know about them, I remember myself when I went to my girlfriend the first time. I was saying, "Oh my God, what Charlie is doing! That's an amazing tool, really good tool." And
Yeah, I
that's a one
think,
tip for all the guys who are watching ourselves. If you are using any metronome, please, and if you are practicing something on 70, you have to increase the speed automatically, not by stopping your guitar, by using an app that it's letting you increase the speed each 2, 3, or 4 bars. Why? Because of this is the only way that you have to improve. We don't improve by staying on the same speed. We improve by increasing the speed, so our techniques are getting better. Okay. And
yeah,
hit the stress points once that you feel that you are doing so many mistakes and it doesn't sound as it has supposed to be sounding.
yeah, and I think one of the things that people struggle with is deciding when they've hit their stress point. Like, sometimes people will continue speeding up even though the guitar is buzzing or muted strings or they're really, really tense. And my advice to people is, when you start noticing tension that you can't release, like you can't get rid of it and recover, that's when you're starting to hit your stress point. If you find that it's dropping you too much every time that you hit the stress point, those are all options that you can change within the system. So it's very customizable. If I want it to increase in speed every 1 measure, I can say that, or every 4 measures. I can even, which wouldn't really make sense for technique work, but I could say never. It would just stay the same speed. But if you never push your speed, you never get faster. Like, that's one of the principles. I took some time to try and study how people learn when I made this. And one of the things that really was important is you need to constantly be stretching into that discomfort. That's when you adapt and that's when you get better. And if you're staying where you're comfortable and thinking, if I do this at 70 long enough, I'll be able to do it at 80, that's not the way that it works. That's not the way our brains work.
Yeah, that's completely true.
So
So, man,
I
good.
I think this last thing for the metronome itself that's important is the way that it captures your video, because that's something that every user is going to want to do. If you click on the open camera button or the broadcast button, it will show you a preview of what it's going to capture. And the broadcast button's meant for like OBS or one of those video captures if you're a content creator, but the open camera button is what most people are going to use. And when you click on it, you'll see it shows what it's going to record. And you click the record button, it'll record it and put it in your downloads folder. But you can see on here that it shows at the bottom of the screen all of the beats that are running. So if I start the metronome, you'll see it's lighting up and it's going to continue while it plays. And I can see where the beat is that we're on. So this capture platform is frankly the best way that you can record yourself for feedback. And even if you're not sending it to people, when I record myself with this metronome on the screen, it's like you can't hide. You know exactly where your mistakes are. And that's a really good thing.
Yeah, yeah, completely true. Yeah, when you record, the mistakes are always when you record. When you don't record yourself, you don't identify them. So, good tool.
Right.
I like it.
Yeah. Should we go over to the repertoire? Do you have any questions about the technique area?
Not
Should
now.
show
I
you
think
some
that
repertoire
everything's
stuff?
so clear, man. Great.
Okay. So the other type of practice that, I mean, you are the one that really hammered this home, which is if you want to play repertoire, like, don't spend time doing exercises that aren't music. Spend the time playing music, right? If
And
you go
what
into the
Charlie's saying
repertoire,
here, for a person who have not much time to practice a day, my recommendation is always to focus just on repertoire. Because of repertoire gives you also techniques, harmony, and everything. But in this case, Charlie has more time, is really focusing on improving on guitar, and he can divide techniques and repertoire. It makes completely sense. Okay.
Yeah, so the repertoire area here is this came after we started with the techniques area, and
Yeah.
we realized after I invited a few users to test this, we got really good feedback that this was extremely helpful. The way of managing our library was really good, so they wanted to be able to do repertoire. So we invented this whole repertoire area. And in here, what we can see is that there's already a long list of available repertoire items here, but this is expanding every day. And as I was saying, you could add anything that you have access to in YouTube to this list, and it would be available for you to practice this way. I'll use the Perfil Flamenco as an exercise example, or a library item example here, mainly because it's kind of a complicated piece. So at the top here, we can see some of the details. We can see it's in drop D tuning. I can even click this, brings up a tuner. So again, we're talking about efficiency, right? How do we efficiently practice? Don't spend time having to set things up. If I want to come in and I want to practice a certain part of this, like for example, I know I'm practicing part 5, the first section, and I needed to look at this the other day. So I come down, I hit that. If I want to know what part I'm practicing, I can see the whole video here. And if I go to my loop, I can see the exact part that I needed to practice.
This is
and
also
it'll
great.
loop that.
This is great also.
But without me doing anything, it's going to keep doing it. If I come down, I have the full metronome down here, which is identical to the other one that we just used. So you only need to learn one interface and you know everything. This is just the one metronome, and it works the same way across the whole app. You can put as many A-B loop points in a video as you want, and it'll all appear down here in your saved loops. I probably have one that has more saved inside of it, but I would have to hunt around. But it's just a long list. It'll keep track of as many as you want. So once you've figured out your section that you want to practice, and you've figured out where your loop is, you've looped it, you've figured out I'm going to sit down and use a metronome. Sometimes you're not ready to use a metronome yet. Like the way I think of it is it has to be in your fingers first, and then you can practice it with a metronome, right? The benefit of this system is once you are in an area to practice, you want to track that time. So you can come in and you can set this to be a timer. And when you practice, it'll track that you spent time on this, but you don't have to be running a metronome. So this is really nice for some of the pieces that are extremely complicated or that you're bouncing around while you're practicing. Maybe you can do one section at one speed, but not another speed. This lets you kind of have that, I'm doing this song, but I'm not playing to a metronome, and it tracks it accordingly. So once you come through, you set your metronome up, you practice, you're able to come back. Let's say I finish this for the day. I come back to the repertoire list. I can pick something else. This little bar at the top fills up as you progress. And when it reaches the end, you know you've hit your goal that day. And it makes it really simple and rewarding. It's like, I don't have to worry about, did I do enough? One thing that I found is that I tend to fear that I haven't done enough, and I over practice. So what this lets me do is, like, let's say I have budgeted my time for a half hour a day. If I come in and I track a half hour a day in this app, I know I've done what I need to do. I don't have to think, should I go get another 5 minutes in, or did I do enough? I know I've done enough. So the point of this is, I think a lot of people that are learning remote, they don't understand what it is that makes their practice good enough to improve. And this app makes sure that you're improving. You can't escape the improvement if you're using this app. It will force you to improve. And it'll recommend, hey, you did this technique last time. You did this exercise last time. I recommend you do this other exercise. And there'll be badges that show you where to go when you come in fresh every morning to make sure you're doing the best thing to move forward.
Nice, man.
So there are a couple of neat features here that are worth mentioning. One is the My Progress area, where you can literally show If your teacher says, hey, what did you do this week? Well, you can show them. I've done an hour and a half of picado, 52 minutes of alsapua. You can just list this out. You can share it, and someone will know exactly what it is that you've done for that week. And if you're a teacher inside of our system, you can accept someone as your student, and then, for example, you would be able to go in and see what it is that I've been doing, and you'd be able to quickly get to those same things to see what it is that we're going to be working on an upcoming lesson, for example.
Yeah, so as a teacher, I can see what you are playing, how much you are playing, and in what you are focusing right now, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And you can assign things too. Like you could be like, you know what, he needs to do this other thing, and you can
Yeah.
assign it to me. And when I come into the app, it comes up as an assignment and I can do it. Something that's kind of cool, and I think it's really unique about this app is it's really been developed by the community, right? Like I'm the sole designer, developer, founder, or whatever, but when we started working with it in the community, it really grew because we got to incorporate other people's ideas into it. So in this area called the lab, it's where we have sort of our playground of ideas. So if you join and you're doing whatever, you have some experience with the app and you have an idea and you let us know what it is, we'll probably put it in this area. So for example, in this area, we had someone want to learn the fretboard better. Like, how can I learn the fretboard? So we put in a whole area here of identifying where notes are on the fretboard so that people can go through and learn that if they want to. We added a whole area here to be able to practice scales. But not only just scales, you could practice the entire Segovia scale pattern. So this is like a crossover with the classical guitar world, where classical guitar has a lot of things that are commonly studied because they're very effective, and they can be effective for flamenco too, but
Yeah.
it just takes actually knowing they exist and having it be readily available for you. So this area here is fantastic because if I want to learn a scale, I can pick, I want to learn an A Phrygian scale that's in this section of the neck, and it'll show me exactly where it is. So this is kind of a niche thing, but very powerful. Additionally, people can come up with studies. So one of the teachers that's in the community, Steve, came up with an A minor pentatonic study that shows people how to develop their picado technique by using the pentatonic pattern. And he shared it, we added it, and it's in here for people to use. Same thing with the Giuliani study, 120 patterns for the right hand. Not all of these are in flamenco, but some of these are in flamenco. And knowing how to confuse your hand and work through new ways of doing an arpeggio is very powerful, and it is very helpful. You can come in, you can pick one of these, you can do it. And this is sort of the like challenge area, I imagine, of the app, where if you have extra time and you're having fun, go for it. Go in here and do stuff. You'll probably find a good way to spend 30 minutes. That's going to help you get better at guitar. The last button here is fantastic. This is the Loop Lab, which is, I'm terrible at this. I need someone far better at the guitar to demonstrate this. But the idea here is that you can create a loop that you can play in the background while you record yourself playing on top of it. So we can record a bass loop, we can record overdubs, we can stack them up, and then we can record a video of us playing on top of them. And all of it is to the same metronome, to the same beat, with the beats showing up just like in the other metronome areas of the app. So this is very powerful. We have some users that are experienced in, I think it's is it Roomba that
Usually, that's something that I do also even for my gigs. So you can record like a Roomba pattern using so many different corporation, and you can just improvise on the top.
Right. That's the beauty. The real beauty is like I'm not very good at improvising, but playing over some chords that I can pick any chords I want and then try and improvise over them is really, really neat. And normally you would need to use separate software. All of this is done in a browser. You don't need any programs. You just open up Chrome or whatever, go to the site, and you have a Loop Lab. You have a techniques area. You have a repertoire library. You have a YouTube video navigator with A/B loops. You have practice tracking. It's just, it has everything you really need in one place. So when we're talking about like ways to improve this app, the most important thing to me is that we are streamlining the process, because it's very easy for people to not know how to improve or if they are improving. And that questioning of what should I be doing now? Am I doing the right thing? That is a big waste of time. So instead of wasting your time thinking about that, using this app takes that pressure off. It gives you the automatic coach that's going to make sure that you're doing okay. And something that I experienced is, for example, with Picado, the spider exercise is the first exercise, right? Which I think everybody's probably familiar with. And it's very simple. Everybody thinks like, oh, I can do that. And they move on to level 2, right? And after about 3 months of using this app, I realized that, oh, I thought I was playing cleanly at 120 beats per minute on the spider exercise, but there's more to the picado than I thought, and I really need to work on, and then I came up with what it was. I need to work on making my thumb more relaxed when I'm doing the picado so that I'm not having lots of tension. Well, in order to practice that, I came back to level 1. I set the metronome low again, and I started working my way back up by hitting that stress point. Well, what that allows me to do is anytime I identify something in my technique I need to work on, I open it up to level 1, and I try and play, making sure that I don't break that. And if I can play, then I go to level 2. And I work my way back through these levels over and over and over again.
Until you check that everything's working right, that sounds nice, and it's completely clean.
Right. So as soon as you recognize you need to make a change, it's inviting you, please go back to level 1 or level 2 or whatever it is, and start using that stress point button again, this time when you notice that one thing that you're trying to do isn't happening. And it really streamlines the process of getting things up to speed quickly.
That's it, guys. I love the work. Congratulations, Charlie, for the work.
Oh, thank you. None of this would have been possible without your instruction. I mean, I feel like I should apologize to you, because it feels like I just stole like how to get better at the guitar and put it on a website.
if it finally works and let people practice in the right way, that's completely worth for me.
Yeah, I just, having everybody waste their time the same way, I just can't stand for that. There's a better way.
yeah, you're right. Okay, so let's cut for today. 46 minutes recording. That's a good video. So, guys, that's it. flamencoskills.com. Okay, the link is going to be below this video. Okay, on YouTube. So, if you have any question, please, you can leave a question on the comments below, and you can also leave a question on the form that you always find on the description below, in which you can write down a question, and I will be answering it on another videos. Okay, so you can ask about anything about guitar or even about the app. So I will be also answering about it since now.
And if everybody wants to email me, you can just send it to charlie@flamencoskills.com, and it'll come to me, and I'll answer whatever questions.
Awesome. There is also a help section, right, on the website?
Yeah, anywhere that you need to. Let me just share. That's a good point. Give me 1 second, I'll show you. Anytime that you have a question in the app, you can come down and you can click here, and it speaks a bunch of different languages, and it'll give you like a very basic idea of what's going on and how it can help. And if anything isn't clear from this, you can email me. It'll let you know how to email me, and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. I haven't had anybody really need a lot of help outside of this. It's pretty self-explanatory once you go through it a couple times.
Thanks a lot, man, for taking the time. Thanks a lot for me taking the time of watching and joining ourselves today, for explaining everything, and also taking the time to create this great app.
Thank you.
Thanks. And as always, remember that below the video you will find a few links. Today we have a new one. Okay, so the first link is going to be a forum in which you can leave any question that you want to ask myself, and I will be answering to it on the next YouTube video. The second link, it's a WhatsApp community in which I share special tips sometimes, and with the ones who I only share when our private community opens sometimes a year. The third link is where you can make the reservation of a one-on-one session with myself in which I will let you know if what you are doing is right or not, and also will share with you what I would do if I was yourself. And the fourth link is a flamencoskills.com website, in which you will find all the information that you want to know about the app. But my recommendation is to stay here and check what my friend Charlie is going to share with you right now. So let's go.